I have been pretty much MIA this entire month of March. It is now the beginning of April, and I'm gonna catch you up on a couple things. One, I said this a while ago in a couple of my other videos, but I'm gonna reiterate it again. I don't know when I'm gonna post. I don't know how often I'm gonna post. I'm gonna post when I can. Um, these videos are mainly just fun for me. I love just talking. So if you love to hear me just jibber jabber, that's what you get anyway. And I like to film these in like podcast form to where like I'm just talking to a camera about kind of whatever I want, more or less. But still in the same aspect of like I'm trying to appreciate life more. And let me catch you up on March of everything you missed in my life, even though it's not important to anybody else. Um, and then we'll go into the future a little bit. So, more or less, month of March, I mainly took off because it was my birthday. March 16th is my birthday. And I had a great birthday. Honestly, it was phenomenal. I felt probably in a very long time. If you watch my previous video, the one right before this, I was like, I just want people to like show me that they love me. And I had a lot of people come through. And a lot of it was my kind of planning and my kind of doing, but still, I very much appreciated what other people did for me. So I definitely had a great birthday. And then another thing, it was actually last weekend that I actually photographed a wedding of a girl who I'm just gonna catch you up because this is actually a really funny story time. So, more or less, my friend, he asks me to second shoot for him quite often. Usually he's a guy, I'm a girl, so like if there's ever a wedding, like I'll do the bride side, he'll do the groom side, and then we meet up during the ceremony. That's always just like how him and I second shoot most of the time. Vice versa, if I have to be the first shooter and he has to be the second shooter, I just need a guy shooter kind of a thing. We always ask each other. And when we were planning this, it was probably like I want to say 6 months ago at least. And he was just like, hey, I have this wedding at the end of March. Like, are you free? This is how much I'm going to be able to pay you, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, sure, no problem. Like, remind me when it gets closer to the day. It gets closer to the day. And he's like, okay, well, I want to go and tour the venue, like tour the hotel. So at the beginning of March, we went to go tour this hotel. And when we were scheduling to go tour the hotel together, us as photographers, he was like, oh, and the bride and groom's going to be coming with us. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I'll finally get to meet them. Great. And two side notes is one, my friend who I second shoot for, him and I have been friends since high school. So like we all went to the same high school. It's all in the same area, blah, blah, blah. But he then tells me through text message the same day that we're going to meet the bride and the groom of who the bride and the groom are. And the funniest thing is that the bride I literally did Girl Scouts with when I was like 5 years old. Like I have known this girl like my entire life. So I haven't seen her in years. Like obviously she's lived a whole different life. Yeah. And I walk into the hotel room and I'm like, oh my goodness, like I cannot believe like I'm about to shoot your wedding. Like this is she's like, I can't believe that either. This is so like small world. And like her and I actually both figured that out within the same month that like both of us girls from our past are coming to my wedding. That is like we haven't seen each other in years. It was very full circle and very crazy. And then the end of the month, like March 28th, it was her wedding day. And it was just a mime because even her mom recognized me. Her mom didn't even know I was going to be there. It was crazy. But the only one down frame was that there was a No Kings protest literally happening, like not even a block away, like a building away. And I was able to get photographs of the protests happening, which it was a calm protest. It wasn't anything crazy. But it was just crazy because I felt more bad for the bride and the groom because they were trying to get people in the building to park and they couldn't because the protest was going on. So that was a little crazy. Now that that's kind of what my March has been, um, let's talk about health. Let's talk about brain. Let's talk about life. Sure, why not? Um, Obviously, because it's been my birthday, I was eating whatever I want. Let's just put it that way. And if you've seen from my previous videos, I should not be eating whatever I want. Specifically, it causes me to have aggressive nerve pain. That's like the number one thing. It makes me massively fatigued. It makes me have hypertension. It makes me have hypotension. My blood sugar goes all over the place. It's a whole thing. Um, and I just don't feel great usually when I eat whatever I want. So that's why I'm on as strict as a diet as I am, which I'm not on a diet to like lose weight or keep the weight down or anything like that. I'm literally just so I don't feel like crap, truthfully. Um, so pretty much the entire month of March, I ate pretty much like crap. And it's only April 3rd right now. So I also had coffee. That's like the biggest no that I should never have, but I had it like at least 6 times through the month of March. So yeah, it was a lot. And let alone is that I've still been doing physical therapy, which has mainly been for my connective tissue issues, which it's been helping. I've been loving physical therapy actually. Um, and I've been learning a lot within physical therapy, but I've also been doom scrolling beyond belief and watching and posting everything on Instagram, which is just not great for my mental health. um, and then Yeah, I'd rather be reading books, if you're not aware, um, which I just picked up Haley Pham, which she is a very famous and lovely YouTuber that she just wrote her first book, which she's a massive reader. Her book is called Just Friends. Very cute, very adorable. Which I'm currently reading through that, but I'm taking my good old time. I think I'm only like 20% in right now, but it's a good book. Her writing style is also very different than what I've personally read before, which I actually find refreshing. Um, I could tell that she's had a lot of experience with reading, and she definitely took all of that experience with reading other books and put that into her own spin of things, which I highly appreciated. But obviously, I haven't finished it, so that's not a review or anything. That's just what I'm getting out of it so far. um, I also am 80% through rereading Beach Reads by Emily Henry. I've read that once before, but this time I'm going through the audiobook just because I know the movie is coming out probably within 2026 at some point. So I was like, I need a refresher of that. Um, and then anything else? Oh my goodness. You guys want to hear another crazy story? It happened this morning. So today, as I'm filming this, I'm not sure when I'm going to post it, probably same day, but today is the Good Friday before Easter. So I actually have off work today. And I was just running around getting groceries this morning, getting gas in my car, getting stuff done, whatever. And I got to give you a little backstory. So, probably about a year ago, my husband and I have lived in our apartment for 8 years now. We have not moved. We've lived here at least since 2019. And for about 10 months, we get constant different neighbors every couple years or so because we've lived here forever. Um, and we had a neighbor next door where it was a single older woman. She was probably over the age of 65, almost 70. And she was single. She didn't live with anybody. She wasn't married, nothing like that. And the first couple months was fine. I think it was in the winter and it was fine, whatever, summer. And we didn't really hear about her or anything. And within like 3 to 4 months of her living here, she started to like bang on the walls and tell us to be quiet. And like we've never had these kind of things with any other neighbors. And we've had countless other neighbors. Like I could tell you stories of my neighbors just because we're right next to them. And this used to be one whole house, but it's not anymore. This house is very old, but beyond the point. And anyway, this lady, she not only was banging on the walls telling us to be quiet, she also I would be sleeping in my bed, and my bedroom is right next to her kitchen. And the vent that's through her kitchen to my bedroom, you can actually like verbally talk to someone like you're next to them. And she figured that out. And there would be nights where I'd be sleeping in bed and it'd be like 9:30 and I would probably be just like scrolling on my phone on Instagram and she would start whispering in the vents that like and literally start like slurring at me and cursing at me through the vents of like I'm a horrible like B word, like any word that you could think of, she's called me through this vent. And I would be like laying there crying in fear because I'm like half asleep, not knowing if it's in my head or not. And then I've called her, like I recorded it sometimes to send it to my landlord because like we rent, we don't own this place. And then there was countless times as well that she would try to come over, and we have a like a camera outside that you can like watch your front porch. It's not a Ring camera, by the way. And we could see her come over on our side because we have two different front doors. And she would try to prop open the door because she couldn't handle any scent, like any candle, any air freshener, even like making coffee. She would have a comment about that. She couldn't handle the smell because she had that bad of asthma. She even couldn't handle like she thought that we were trying to burn down the house. And she couldn't even handle the carpet in her house that she made my landlord even rip up the carpet. So like this lady was literally crazy and she actually got evicted by my landlord. I'm not going to go into any further detail because there was like legal stuff that happened after that, but more or less this lady was crazy. And she hasn't lived in this side of the apartment in probably over months. It's been almost a year since we've seen her, but like I will never forget her face. You know what I mean? Because she like scared me to death. Because I was like, is she gonna come over and kill me? Is she gonna like put something in the air to like kill me? I don't know. And I was just fearing my life at the time, but like I'm happy she moved away and I'm happy she got evicted. Like, live your life, go away. And I went to go get gas this morning. I went to Sheets in my town, and the only pump that was open was the one that was directly next to her. And thank God, truly, she did not see me. Ooh. But she was like cleaning out her car at the trash pump, like basically. And then she walked inside, maybe paid for her gas, and then came right back up. And I put my hood up. Like I literally had this hoodie on. I put my hood up and my back was completely turned to her. I was like, don't make eye contact. Don't turn to her. Don't. Just don't. I immediately texted my husband. I was like, guess who I saw today? Oh, it was the craziest thing. Anyway, that was the end of that story time. Another story time. Um, the debacle of why husbands buy motorcycles. We can laugh at this one together. So my husband probably, oh my goodness, it had to be, yeah, it had to have been before. Yeah, it probably was like 2017, maybe even 2018 that my husband bought a motorcycle for a summer. And he did the right thing that he got his motorcycle license immediately. Thank God, because I don't know if this statistic is still accurate, but back then the statistic used to be that 40% of motorcycle drivers did not have an actual motorcycle license. So if you're watching this and you don't have your motorcycle license and you drive a motorcycle, there is a specific license for it, and you probably need to get it. Anyway, my husband only had his motorcycle for like a year, and then I think we had to sell it for like a car, or we were going to college or something like that. I don't remember why we had to sell it, but he only had it for the summer. He only wanted it for toy purposes. And I was like, we'll never get a bike again, anything like that. This year, my husband's car and my car are both old and they're just not the greatest. And he's like, okay, well, I need to save money on gas. And I think the best way to do that is if I get a motorcycle. And I'm just like, you know what? You're not wrong. But I will tell you this, I will never ride a motorcycle. I am such a person to where, like, if it's a jet ski, a motorcycle, a Vespa, I don't care. A scooter, if I'm not wrapped in a bubble like a car, it's around you. You know what I mean? If I'm not wrapped in a car like that, I'm not getting on it. Nope. Mm-mm. If it's going on a sidewalk, like I might do a skateboard, but not a powered one. If it's got like an engine of nope, nope, nope. If I can fly off of that real quick and get like more than my own willpower to get it moving, I'm not going on it. You know what I mean? So my husband said about, okay, well, the only time of year where I got to ride it is bike week, which is true. But I will like drive to bike week and then like get on the bike then, which sounds, I know, super stupid, but I digress. Anyway, my husband bought a bike this past Thursday, and he just drove it the longest he's ever driven it today, which is an hour, um, straight shot, basically. And um, he also got it inspected this morning and oil changed this morning. So, yeah. And also, it's the biggest bike he ever had. So, yeah, that's been nerve wracking and a little like, you make me nervous. I don't support this decision, but it's a Yamaha. That's really all I know. It's a Yamaha something. It's got 1,000 horsepower of some sort on it. I don't remember. But the number one part that got me was that I think he only paid 1,700 for it, and it only has 11,000 miles on it. That blew my mind. I was like, that's a great deal. Like, what do you mean it only has 11,000 miles on it? Apparently, it only has had two owners, and the second owner only drove it like 2 miles or something last summer. So he was like, I need to get rid of it. I don't drive it enough. And I was like, my husband will have fun with this every summer because we also kind of live in a small town. So that's beyond the point. But last night my husband was driving it home and I told him and I said, you're going to want to get a rain suit. And he goes, I'm just going to drive in the rain. It's going to be fine. And I was like, you're going to want to get a rain suit. My dad has a motorcycle and he's had one for a couple years now. And he bought a rain suit because he will drive in the rain. And if you're going to get stuck in the rain, you're going to want a rain suit that's actually in your sidecar or in your side bag, whatever you have, just in case of emergencies. In case you get stuck in the rain and you got to drive home. An emergency rain suit. And guess what? He had to ride home almost a 40-minute drive last night from getting the bike, and he was soaking wet. It was the funniest thing to come back to. I was like, you're wet. That's funny. Anyway, and then he left today, and I was like driving him around or whatever, and he left stuff in my car, which was also really funny, but beyond the point. Anyway, that was quite a bit of story time. I'll also catch you up on 5K information. So, because my food has been whack, I've been going good with physical therapy. My actual like cardio level of physical activity has not been great. Um, but I think that that has to more do with the food that I've been intaking. So I feel like once I fix that, my whole month of April, I'm really going to focus on that because I have, I think, till the end of May to fully sign up for the 5K. I still have not signed up for it because I knew that it was going to be like this. It was going to be up and down. It was going to be a process. I know, I know. And I'm like, I don't want to sign up for it if I don't know I can do it because I'm pretty sure it's $40. So I have the whole month of April to like get my way under pack with things. And now that the weather's out and now that the weather's nicer, like I feel like, okay, let's take the month of April and just like see where we can get. And by the end of April, we'll really make the decision. So that's the idea of as of right now. I just got to get back on the horse with things. I'm like, it's April now. It's not my birthday month anymore. um, so that's kind of the plan with that. And then, um, oh my goodness, my husband and I went to what I personally found was the coolest mall I've ever been to. And then it was just a weird experience. So I, when I go walking, I would rather spend my weekend and I won't be like, oh, let's go for a walk. No, no, no. No, no, no. We need to make it an experience. We need to make it an event. You know what I mean? I'm that bougie. And I'm like, let's go to an amusement park. Let's go to a mall. Let's go to an outlet mall. Let's go to somewhere we've never been. And that's how we get our steps in. That's thinking logically, killing two birds in one stone. So a couple weekends ago, I think it was like beginning of March, and I was like, "Ooh, I found a mall that sounds cool. That's in Washington D.C. Let's just go." And it was called Pentagon City. And I was like, "That sounds odd." But like, sure, let's go. So we go, and the pictures actually online looked really cool. And then even when we got there, it looked really cool. They have a parking garage. I liked the mall a lot. The mall really didn't have much in it to like physically see or do, but it was a good mall to like walk around in because I'm pretty sure it's like 5 stories. It felt like it was like a skyscraper, but like mall levels, and you could see the whole inside of it. It was pretty cool. And then they actually have an outlet mall outside that like would be cool. And I think that's where like their main bulk stores are. But we didn't go in there. It was still really cold. And then interestingly enough, is that sort of like right across the street from it is the Pentagon. And I like didn't put two and two together. So we're driving past and we're like leaving the mall. And I asked my husband and I was like, what building do you think that is? And he's like, I don't know, but it's huge. And a lot of people are going into it. So I pull up my Google Maps and I'm like, okay. And then I'm like looking at the aerial view and I'm like, I didn't even read the words first. I just saw what the picture was. And I was like, oh, that's the Pentagon. I was like, oh, cool. Um, and other side note is that my husband's only been to Washington, D.C. now twice. And last winter we went to see the Washington Monument. And then we just went to the Pentagon City. So my husband's been dying to go even more just to see more, just because, yeah. Um, And also, weirdly enough, Old Navy's having a massive sale right now. I just got jeans from Old Navy for like 20 bucks. That was really nice. I've been having issues with like, I bought a pair of jeans from Old Navy. I like them a lot. They're very comfortable. They fit me well. And then they don't cover my cowboy boots the way that I want to. If you know, you know. They can't be flooding. And I'm a tall girl. Like I in my brain I'm 6'10". I'm actually 5'10". But yeah, I need proper set of jeans, and the only jeans that I have found that will custom make them extra long was, in past tense, American Eagle, but I don't think they do that anymore. And I know probably Levi's do, but Levi's are really expensive, and I don't have the money for that. So I'm trying to get by with Old Navy jeans, trying to. It's not really working the way that I want to because I am tall. Um, but I did just buy Old Navy jeans today. I also got a fun tea kettle over the weekend. That was also fun. But lastly, I think I'll talk about, if you've made it this far in the video, I'm shocked. You If we're not like talking on a daily basis and you've made it this far in the video, send me a text, send me an Instagram message. We could talk for as long as you happily want to. And am a good listener. Trust me, I am. And I will ask questions more about you than I will about me. But if you've made it this far in the video, we need to be best friends immediately. And we could probably sit at a coffee shop for like hours and just chat. Um, but this is going to be where it's going to change in the video of like, I'm going to talk about God a little bit, but hear me out. So I think it was a sermon that my pastor was talking about, and he was talking about it right at the beginning of March. And to be honest, this is something that I struggle with just like mentally of like, why didn't God make us just robots to just obey him if he knew that we were going to sin and we were going to be terrible people and we were even going to hurt ourselves in the aspect and all of those things, or it just we're never good enough, those kind of things. And why didn't God just make us robots? And my pastor said something pretty profound, and it really made me even look at the Bible differently. And I think he was more taking this as the aspect that like he knows the Bible, which I will even take this as the aspect of I did go to Bible college, but that's beyond the point of the conversation. And he said on stage, and he said that God finds it impressive, or God finds it successful of every time you turn away from your sin and go to him. That's what he finds success in. That's what he finds impressive that we do. That God is not actually impressed of what we create. God is not impressed by how perfect we are. God is not impressed by us obeying him every 10 seconds. It's great that we do those things. But the way that my pastor said it is that the Bible is not about what every human on this planet did to get to heaven, or to accept Jesus and like the works aspect of it. But the Bible is about different stories of different people's lives of how they turned and faced God in that aspect. And that really shows, even in the aspect at the beginning of the Bible all the way to the end, that like God did not just create us to be like, oh, look what I created. This is my creation. I just created something cool. I'm just a little magician over here. Like, that's God, you know? Like, God didn't create us to just like create something. God didn't just create the Bible as well, just to create something. He created everything because he's impressed by things choosing the right decision. And I think that that made me think of life a little bit differently because I'm like, you know what? If I just had it in my heart to just want to do the right thing, if I just had it in myself to just be a better person, but it's hard. But the thing is that like, I always thought that like God was impressed with me being perfect, but that's the after fact of it. You know what I mean? Of like, what you do after is what we always look at. But the actual change of the perspective is actually what, like, God is impressed by. And I'm, like, looking at other people on this planet, and I'm like, "You know what? I think that that's what I'm impressed by too, is, like, when people change. And when people are willing to point out, like, "You know what? I used to do bad things, and I still try every day to not do bad things." And it happens sometimes. Like, I'm not a perfect person. I'm a person, you know? Like, I'm not God. Like, but it's impressive to see from other people when people change and are having the ability to do better. And I think that is the most impressive thing that I see as a person. But even to know that that's also God's most impressive thing, that not what they do after, not what their works, but just the actual change that's within them, that that is so important. And I think that that's the massive thing that I've learned this month as a whole, that even with my physical health and even with like me working out and everything like that, I've just really thought about it and I'm like, even if I can only show up for myself like 2 times a week, that's better than no times. If I can only eat healthy 4 days a week instead of five, it's better than not doing it at all. You know, like it's really looking at it not even as a glass half full or a glass half empty, but more what the glass is filled with, of like, what is the perspective of, are you drinking sugar or are you drinking water? And I think that it's the perspective of that, like glass half full, glass half empty, but even deeper than that, that like to turn and change. I just found that so interesting because that's something that I struggled with my chronic health of like, if only I was a robot and just could obey and not have anxiety and not have depression and not have stress, like, and I could just be a godly person, then I wouldn't have my chronic illness. You know what I mean? I could already be in heaven with God, you know, like, but it's like, but God finds it impressive that I'm turning to him every day, so he's not done with me yet. And I just found that a little enlightening. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, I would love to know. If you want to chat about anything, I'm always free. Um, but yeah, I don't know when I'm gonna post again. At this point, you know that. I'm gonna post when I can though. I don't even know what the thumbnail of this looks like at this point. um, I hope everyone's Easter was good. I'm not really doing much. I cleaned out my car. That was fun to me. Um, but yeah,